everyone, it's your girl Jot, and welcome to my Spring 2024 anime recap.
Meow, meow.
Meow.
This is the first season I've actively watched anime, which was an awesome experience because I ended up picking animes that I probably wouldn't have touched, period. The only thing I did at the very beginning of this season was watch a bunch of trailers, and I picked based on the trailers and what I thought. I even had a whole tier list that kind of just showed which ones I was definitely watching, which ones I'd give a couple episodes to, and which ones like just totally wasn't my vibe. I finished 13 of the Spring 2024 anime. There's a few that I'm still watching, but those won't be here. I'll be including timestamps below if you want to see specific anime that I talk about. And FYI, there will be spoilers in this video, so you have been warned. So first up, we have Delicious in Dungeon, and I've been enjoying this since it first came out in the previous anime season and have continuously kind of watched it. It's a nice, easy to watch anime, and it just does fantasy and world building so well, and it answered the question I've always had of what would monsters taste like, because like they're just like animals, right? But then there's like a taboo about it, and so it's cool to see the taboo that I've always wondered kind of come to life and seeing what they created from the different monsters that they killed. And sometimes I would actually kind of guess what they would create from the monster meats and what dishes they would make, but I also was like, how do they have this many like spices and like vegetables? And Senshi literally like has everything, and I really like the main cast. And one of my favorite parts about this anime, not just like the food, but feeling like it's a true adventure fantasy where every episode they're experiencing something and it's not about the end goal but about the journey. I wasn't like trying to get to the end, but I was enjoying like every moment of it. A Condition Called Love, I really liked. I felt bad for it though because I feel like so many people were putting pressure on it to be a sign of affection. But a sign of affection is more of an adult, mature love. A Condition Called Love is back in the high school environment. I know a lot of people had an ick with the main lead, but I've watched enough or read enough where he probably had a sad story, and he did. His parents basically neglected him. They were helping other children and didn't really like give him attention, and so he always had a neglect of love. So when he has this love, he wants to hold on tight to it because he's afraid someone's going to take it, and he was always making sure things were consensual to our female lead. Our female lead was refreshing because even though she was getting into it kind of unsure if she liked or loved him, I think that's fine because I think that's just how dating is and what you learn from the experience of dating. Like personally, when I was growing up, I never was really like boy crazed. I think I was like a tad bit skeptical of, or just like more cautious about it, because even when I was finally in a relationship, like I didn't want to kiss my partner right away, or like holding hands was like, it took a while, and even when I finally said I love you, it was like quite a while, and I was constantly thinking like, is this love? Is this is this different? Like what is love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. And throughout the relationship, she communicated how she was feeling, but also was like very conscious about him. Overall, she's naturally just a caring person. So like even the little thing she did, even though she wasn't sure if it was like love, she was willing to do it for her boyfriend. When they wanted to have their first kiss, he was like, you can give me the signal. And she finally does give the signal, and it's just like a sweet moment. So like I just really like A Condition Called Love. It's just one of those romances that I just felt like I could relate to, that was more realistic in my opinion. Bartender God of Glass, my husband had read it, so he said it was gonna be good, and it was. It made drinking look so cool. I don't usually drink. I drink sometimes just for fun, and it made me want to go to a bar and order these drinks. But even though some of those drinks are very basic, highball is like a very basic drink in Japan. Like we went to Japan a couple months ago, and it is like probably like Jack and Coke is in America, but they made drinking look amazing. Like just the ice, the shaking, the pouring of alcohol. Like I wanted to get a drink. I wanted to drink what they were drinking, and they made it look so delicious. I thought it was gonna be very just episodic, but it actually had the underlining story of trying to find the bartender for this high-class bar. Nice to kind of see that journey of getting the main character, the main lead, to like finally say yes and seeing the backstory. And I enjoyed watching this very steadily, like taking an episode whenever I felt like it, and it makes you want to drink. When I saw the trailer for Go-Go Loser Ranger, I'm like, this is either gonna be really good or it's gonna be eh. But luckily, it was the former. I really like Go-Go Loser Ranger. It's just like such a fun, comedic, kind of satire or parody. As someone who grew up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and dressed up as a Pink Ranger when she was 7, like it's cool to see this anime because obviously it's a play on Power Rangers and instead they call them Dragon Keepers. And Fighter D is such an interesting character, and honestly all of them are really interesting characters. Like throughout the season, things that happen I was not expecting, like allies that he got and enemies that he created and fights that happened like went in different directions. Like some characters looked like they were gonna be super OP or really good, and then they weren't that great. And some of them that were actually a lot stronger than I initially thought, and they weren't afraid to like kill off characters, which I was like, okay, I guess he's gone. I guess that person is good, or that person is actually bad. So it was like always keeping me on my toes, and just the intro and the outro were one of my favorites this season. And I just had a lot of fun with this anime. I picked up God's Game We Play hoping it would fill in that game kind of anime genre for me, like No Game No Life or Kakaguri, but it didn't. It was not good. Like the only thing I liked about it was the character designs, but overall it just wasn't that fun. Like the challenges were like whatever once they kind of figured it out. There wasn't like this like feeling that I usually get with game anime where it's just like, damn, like that's actually like clever. The solutions in this one was mediocre, and then I found out it was like part ecchi, and I'm just like, I mean, I don't like ecchi that much, and that's why like this one's kind of like extra like I don't care, because I just couldn't even like the characters even without the ecchi parts. Like it was just kind of boring. Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again. I wanted to watch this based on the trailer because it looked like a fun, wholesome anime. And in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I actually kind of like this anime, but as I kept watching, I ended up falling in love with it. In the beginning, the granddaughter ends up liking the grandpa because he's cute now and young, and that kind of like threw me off. But then I guess like when you see your grandparents' younger photo, you're just like, damn, that's my grandpa, or like, damn, he was like so good looking. So like it gets over that, and plus she ends up having a love interest, and I thought that was cute because it was like very parallel of like the grandparents, and the grandparents even ship the granddaughter with this other boy, which was really cute. The only thing I kind of didn't like about it is I wish their voices would change when they were younger, because they just kept their old person voice. And at the very end, I just couldn't help but feel like teary because I knew how it was gonna end, just based on like knowing that they're grandparents and their love. Like there is that part where you find out that the grandma is going to die like in a week, but the grandpa has like a year or something, so then he gives his time to her, and I low-key was like, they better make it even. Like don't just say half of your time. You better ask the god to make sure that it's equal like time left for each other, because I don't want to have it where like he would die a week before she did. At least at the very end they died together, which was just like the perfect way to kind of end the story. And so it's just like a nice wholesome like anime, and like it's cute, and it's like grandparents, and it's something that you can easily watch and enjoy and take a step back and kind of like reflect on your life. Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8. I know it's hyped, but it is hyped for a reason. I loved it. Especially as a millennial, having Kafka, who's like 32, just made him more relatable. Even though like he is a typical shonen main character who is like lovable, who's like the sunshine personality, who doesn't necessarily have OP powers, but he actually finds out he has an OP power. AKA in this story, he becomes a kaiju or has a parasite kaiju infect him and then makes him OP and stuff like that. But like he was just so refreshing as a character, just like living his dream and trying so hard. I know that sounds like every shonen, but for some reason I just related to him just a little bit more because of the age. And I also just like the different relationships between the different groups or different characters. Vice Captain Hashira is my man for this season. Like he's definitely giving Levi Ackerman, and the comedy was funny and it was like fun, and they were just like awesome characters. But the only thing I did not like about it is the character design. I have not read the manga, but I am picking it up. Hoshina's fine, but like Ichikawa, like the character design for the manga just was so much better, and the anime, I don't know if it was because they wanted to make them softer to look more like comedic or friendlier to feel that vibe, but I feel like they could have just copied and pasted the manga version because that looked so much better. Like Ichikawa, he got done dirty. Narumi at the end got done dirty. Narumi, for me kind of reminds me of Rick from Rick and Morty. And I hope they change the designs or like just like get closer to the manga, because the manga designs were just so much better. And each Saturday I was so excited to just get on the couch, watch an episode of Kaiju number 8, and they kept on giving us cliffhangers, but I just think it was just a great show and a very good first season, and I can't wait to see some more, and I'm going to be recommending this, and it's probably my top pick for this season. Remonster was an isekai that I picked up hoping that it would be good, and it started out well. I think the world building was great, and then it just got boring because it got repetitious, and it heavily reminded me of Reincarnated Slime. But with Reincarnated Slime, I really like that one because I love Rimuru, and he's just like an overall like lovable character. But this one, he's a little bit more gray in morale, which is fine, but it was just like boring because like he would devour like all the skills, and it'd be like a laundry list of ones, but then he wouldn't use them, and you just knew he was OP, and there's like SA in it, and all the girls in his harem are just going through Stockholm syndrome, which to me was just like, okay, like he SA'd you earlier, but now you're like, oh, like he's so strong and so nice. Like the only redeeming factor is the fact that once he does have kids, he's like a doting dad. But like at that point I was just so bored. The civilization building of this one just wasn't as good as like other isekais that I've watched. So it was a skippable anime. Train to the End of the World, I was whatever when I watched the trailer, but then the first episode I was like, dude, this can be kind of interesting. And the first few episodes were like that, like let's like set up like some interesting things, and then it kept going, and then it just kind of fell down, and then it just became kind of more basic, if that makes sense. Like when I first watched it, it kind of gave me, I don't know why, but Spirited Away vibes, or like Tim Burton vibes, or like Alice in Wonderland, just because of eclectic like possibilities of things happening, and it wasn't just gonna be some, you know, cute girls doing cute things and see their friend that's all the way on the other side of the world. And so like it was cool, and like things were happening, and then it just became whatever. So like I'm kind of iffy on how I really liked it, because like I said, like I think it had a good setup. I just think at the end, like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as amazing because my expectations kind of changed. Okay, Unchained Memories, I'm like iffy about this because like I feel like it had so much potential. Tanasha in Unchained Memory is reminiscent of Frieren as being like the OP, a little bit more quiet female lead, which I've been liking a lot. Oscar, to be honest, gives me a little bit weird vibes because he's so touchy with her, and I ended up picking up the manga like in the season, and it's definitely different. They added like a lot more chapters, and I'm pretty sure the light novel is so much better, and that's why the pacing for the anime is just like so off, and it feels rushed and weird, and you don't get really a lot of character development. I like the manga, but I'm pretty sure I will bet money that the light novel is better. And there's 6 volumes in the light novel, whereas like, but we're trying to squeeze like 12 episodes. The manga is not that far either, so I'm kind of curious what the light novel people know, because I think the story had potential, and I just watched it because I just wanted to keep going, and I did like Tanasha a lot. I like her character design, I like her as a character. It's just Oscar was kind of like, I don't know if I like you. And they finally got married, and then at the very last episode, basically the timeline gets wiped because he just like sacrifices himself for her, and there is a season 2, so I'm probably gonna try to pick up the light novel before, because the anime just isn't it. Vampire Dormitory. Vampire Dormitory was a mix of Ouran Host Club, Vampire Night, and like Twilight, I guess. Like, it was like a train wreck. It was like the trash show that I could not stop watching, and I kept on watching. I have no idea why I really liked it, because I didn't really like the main characters. I did not like Mito. Like Mito, our female lead, for me was just too annoying. And yeah, she has a Saw backstory, but like it just wasn't it for me. Like, but I still watched it. I still ended up watching every week, and the opening song got stuck in my head. But like Ruka was like, dude, how do you not know? And even Ren, you're just like, okay, with Ren, I liked him in the beginning. And then he became some freaking psychopath doing shit just to have Mito, and Mito's just there, and I don't like the side characters. There's just a lot of things I did not like about this anime, but I still watched it, and for some reason I semi-enjoyed it. Would I recommend it? No. It's not on my recommendation list. Windbreaker. I did not watch Tokyo Revengers, but back in the day I remember watching a lot of like high school delinquent J-dramas. So this was reminiscent of that, and I miss watching things like that. The Windbreaker was like a nice like thing to watch because I just don't usually watch that genre. And I like the character designs. And when I found out that voice actor of Gojo is the same as Umemiya, and the voice actor of Megumi is the same as Sakura, and then there's that scene where Umemiya pats Sakura, and there's a parallel scene with Gojo patting Megumi, I was just like, I really like Sakura. I think it's fun to see this misunderstood boy who wants to be at the top of the world, someone who's always been alone, kind of gain friends that actually really care for him. And he's such a blushy boy, and when anybody gives him a compliment, he like blushes. He's just overall just like a sweetheart. And XOXO is also my favorite, and I like the fighting scenes, like watching the action of the fighting. I liked it, and I can't wait to see the next season. And I'll also be probably picking up the manga for this one. Demon Slayer Hashira arc. I really like the season. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea because everyone wants like the action. I did forget how good the animation is. I know we always talk about like Demon Slayer animation, but like when you see it again, you're just like, damn, Ufotable did it right. And I like this arc a lot just because rarely do we get like, or did we even get all the Hashira? There was like that one meeting that they had all the Hashira, but this is like where we got to see them more so. R.I.P. Rengoku. I just like the moments. Like I really like Giyu and Tanjiro seeing like those moments together because it just reminded me of me and my sibling. Core moment for me was watching that, but also I think because we're going into the climactic arc of the Infinity Castle that will come out in the next how many years in 3 movies. When you think about this season, like these are the last moments that characters would have interacted with each other. And like that just hits me so much harder. These two characters will never get to see each other. One of them will pass away or whatever happens. There's too many spoilers. And the last episode was just done so well. Not just animation, but music, and just like the sheer emotion that it made you feel. Like you can't deny the emotion it gives you. And yeah, I'm probably gonna rate it high just because of how good it is, but it is a culmination of like all the seasons and all the fighting and just like the anticipation of what's gonna happen. But like I said, like I am still a fan of the season in itself because of the moments that it's created for the characters. Though I wish there was more Nezuko, because I miss Nezuko. I did actually drop one anime after 2 episodes, and it was this one, A Banished Former Hero Lives As He Pleases. And all I can say is the animation sucks, the main character sucks, and it was boring. And here is my final tier list, going from which ones I highly recommend to ones that I don't recommend, and the rating of them. And that's a wrap for the spring 2024 anime season. Let me know which ones were your top picks, which one were your sleeper picks, and what are you excited for the summer 2024 season, because I need to put my list together. If you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, hit that button. You can follow me on my socials, and I'll see you in the next video.